Hello and welcome to Time Buster Training. This is a series to inspire and inform you on your fitness journey. So I'm going to be interviewing industry experts, inspirational people that I've had the pleasure of meeting on my journey in the industry, and Time Buster Training tribe members who are in our community and absolutely smashing their fitness goals and their community involvement with us. So today we're talking to Taz. Hi Taz, how you doing?
Hey Stu, how you going?
I had the pleasure of working with Taz at Team Bootcamp. We're going to have the founder of Team Bootcamp on in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be talking for 20 minutes about his perspective and his journey in his fitness and health life. Okay, so Taz, you know the format. I've got a Casio here, a PTI, and a personal trainer's Gold Dust. It's got stop, start, continue. We've got 20 minutes. Are you happy to start?
I'm always happy.
Awesome. So let's go, 20 minutes. Right, Taz, I know a lot about your story. We had the pleasure of working together at Team, and introduce yourself. Nobody knows who you are, so give us a flavour of who you are, where you're coming from, and off you go.
Cool. Well, like you say, my name's Taz. I used to be a PT for about 9 years. I had the pleasure of working with Stu at Team Bootcamp, a wonderful place where I learned quite a lot. And pretty much I've had my own fitness sort of journey. When I was younger, when I was 21, I was hitting around 21, 22 stone. I'm quite a tall guy anyway, but I really wasn't carrying it too well. Really unhealthy. Had a bit of a setback, being told sort of like I couldn't do a skydive when I was traveling because I was too fat, which I really didn't like. So I didn't like being told I was too fat or my weight was something that was holding me back. So I came back from traveling and literally just got straight into it, full mindset change, and got myself in shape, and we'll cover that kind of stuff, I'm sure. Yeah, lots along the road, some personal struggles that happened, but I managed to keep myself strong and going through, keeping fitness as a crutch. And then delivering that through to other people and trying to inspire and motivate other people along the way, really. It's only till recently that I left the fitness industry as a worker. I'm lucky enough to get my dream job working as a firefighter, hence the mustache. So I just keep going and trying to keep myself fit and healthy and still hopefully inspire some others.
In the military, there's a bit of an in-joke that all the firefighters just play volleyball all the time. Is that an in-joke in Civvy Street as well?
It's not volleyball, it's darts at the moment.
Darts, right? Okay.
Yeah. They're taking all of our sports stuff away.
So just tell me, go back to, you hear some people on their fitness journeys, and that we talk about, and we preach a lot about finding your why. Just go back to that. I've forgotten that one of the key points in your sort of turnaround was that skydive. So yeah. Was that the only thing? Was that the thing that really kind of, because a lot of people say they have lots of pain and lots of issues, but it takes one thing. Is that, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so no, it wasn't the only thing. I mean, we talk about, a lot, and one of the things we bring up is like checking your reality. And now I think back, I only heard that term not long ago, and it was actually at boot camp where I heard check your reality. There's a whole thing about there are signs showing you that you're getting a bit unhealthy and things like that. And when I look back, there are a hell of a good lot of signs that I wasn't doing well. I was drinking a lot. I was at university and I just played everything off. So I used to play rugby. I was big, so yeah, it's fine. I can play rugby. I'm big, fat, run. It's pretty much what it was. And little things like always being out of breath trying to get to one of the classes on one of the higher floors in the uni blocks and stuff, and play it off as a joke. And I was really unhappy at the time, but yeah, it came out of nowhere with that skydive, because I was enjoying my life. I was traveling. I'd been to Australia, New Zealand, met some fantastic people, some really great experiences, and I didn't realize how much I wanted to do a skydive until I was told I couldn't do it.
Oh, right.
So when they told me, I was with my friend Lucy at the time, and and I didn't even consider the fact that my weight might hold me back. And it wasn't exactly, they're not very PC over in Australia and New Zealand. So it's kind of like, oh, you're too big, too fat to do it. You're too heavy. And I was like, oh, okay, like by a little. And he's like, no, quite a lot. So I was like, oh, okay, cheers, mate. So I went and threw myself off a bridge doing a bungee jump, but I wasn't allowed to go off a plane.
So at that point, you weren't in. Obviously, I know that you've really fully embraced the fitness. Obviously, you've got so much knowledge now. And I remember when we worked together, I love the fact that yours is up to date. And what I mean by that is, obviously, I went to uni, did a sports degree, but that was a long, long time ago. So I kind of like the way, and again, this whole thing is about people's storytelling, and I love, rather than going into the science of stuff, and that's important, but in our target market, in our boot campers and in our Time Buster trainers, it's more like drip feeding the basics and habit changes and implementing something rather than nothing. So at that point, you didn't have the knowledge you have now. So where did you go, or what did you implement, or what did you start with?
Well, I had the basics. So the irony of me being at uni was I was doing a sports and exercise science degree. And I was actually at my heaviest and most unhealthy. It was.
No, I don't think I knew that.
Did you know that? That's how good it was. But no, it was. I went to uni, and it was. I probably wasn't in the right mindset to be learning. I kind of went to uni, not through. Like, I wasn't like pushed into uni, but it was kind of. I was guided into it. I think originally I wanted to do some form of apprenticeship and go and do something like electrician or plumber, but I kind of got egged on to go into the university side, and I don't regret it for a minute. I loved my time there, some great friends and great experience, and it was a springboard going forward. But yeah, when I came back from traveling, I just kind of went through all my old notes, my uni like lecture slides and stuff like that, and kind of brushed up. But then I just kept going. I didn't like this. I've been to uni, I've got a knowledge, I don't need to learn anymore, because that is not learning at all. The more you learn, the more you realise you don't know. Yeah. So I kept on learning. I looked into everything. I did get sucked into the men's health side of things. So all the flashing lights and abs in 5 minutes. I was like, everyone on those abs in 5 minutes did not get abs in 5 minutes. It's been a year's stuff. So don't get me started on that. But I read into it. I went and did my PT after a year of training. I was kind of just figuring things out myself, really. A lot of trial and error, a lot of trial and error. And then I went and did my PT sort of course at a place called the European Institute of Fitness that was just at the Liddeshaw National Sports Centre. Really in depth. Like I know some PT qualifications you can get in weekends or real quick turnarounds, but this place was on par with degree level anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, clinical population. Like it was a lot more in depth than I was expecting, and I think I learned more doing that than I did on my degree. Right. So I really embraced that. Yeah, and just kept learning. And I've always had that kind of mindset. Like I always feel like the imposter syndrome. So being a big guy to start with, losing weight, I always felt like I was never fit enough to be a personal trainer. I was never, I didn't have the body or the physique to be a personal trainer and all the rest of it. And there's a guy, James Smith, he's always saying about like the PT bod that doesn't exist. Like, just because you got a good body doesn't mean you're a good PT. Yeah. Like racing car drivers, like mechanics know how that car works in and out and all the ins and outs doesn't mean they can beat Lewis Hamilton, does it? It's so that kind of stuff. So then I've done things like the UKSCA workshops for my strength and conditioning, did a master's in strength and conditioning, and then learning through other people. Like I said, like I've mentioned James Smith, but people like Dr. Mike, Martin McDonald, Phil Graham, people like that. They are all titans of industry going through it all and cutting out a lot of the bull crap as well, which is what really got me. Yeah. So I just always learning. And I just
Yeah,
run.
that's what we're saying, that it's an industry, isn't it? Like you said, that the more you look into it, the more you know you realise you don't know. And
Mm.
again, I kind of, I've said this a couple of times, but I kind of put the physical fitness and your ability and your fitness in kind of like a 1 to 10 scale. And I'm really passionate about working with people. A lot of the stuff I see out there is aimed at 8, 9s, and 10s, so the higher echelons of fitness.
Yeah.
That we've had exposure to people that are at the lower end, and I'm kind of working with people who are under 5, but we're inspiring them to be a 5 and maybe push on to be a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
And I sometimes say that about the your fingerprint. All our fingerprints are unique, and that's exactly the same as your fitness journey. And you're right. There'll be so many things that you know that aren't relevant to you. Ways of training, ways of eating, and we always say, don't we, about go and find something you enjoy doing first,
Yeah.
and resonate with. So you've had clients yourself.
Yeah.
You've worked with lots and lots of people. What are the common things that you kind of see people do wrong?
I'm not going to say wrong. I'm going to say learning points.
Good, like that. That was a little step. I wondered whether you're going to pick that up.
Yeah. Self-pressure, I think. That's the biggest thing, and I'm an absolute advocate of it as well. Is I'm always putting too much pressure on. Some people they'll get a target in their head, and it doesn't matter what it is, and they will place their value on if they achieve that target or not, and it ends up crushing them. It's rather than being like, okay, I haven't. Like, they say failed a lot, like, oh, I failed. I went out and got levered on a Friday night, and I've ruined it. But it's only failed, or it's only completely ruined if they completely stop. You can always pick up where you left off. Okay, this time I'm not going to go out on Friday and get completely smashed. I'm going to try and I'll change the drinks I have. It's never perfect. It's just better is what I told them to go for. And once they get into that kind of mindset of, okay, I screwed up, back to it. The time between that initial blip to when you get back on the horse as such is it gets smaller. So you can have a whatever you fancy, but yeah. So self-pressure and demonizing food as well is your big ones.
Okay. So how do you suggest people overcome those things? What are your tools or stories, or have you got any stories of people that have gone from like one extreme to another?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest tool I've got is kind of listening to them as well. Like we joke in the industry of PTs and stuff, but a good my view is that a good PT is one who listens more and talks less. So you can take on what they're saying and what they're what each client's different. Like you said, the fitness journey is different, and while they say they want to say, for instance, my premium sort of clients have sort of like middle-aged females, and one of their big things was that they wanted to drop a dress size or 2 or things like that, and you kind of look into the why, and a lot of times it gets into quite the emotional sort of side of things, because if you're just kind of going in for the fitness and you're doing just a training plan and you're telling them eat that, not this, it's just like putting a bandage over a crack in the wall. It's not going to fix the problem. And I'm not saying like we fix people, but we make them, it's kind of, you make them realize what the problems are sometimes, like the 5 whys. If you ask yourself why and answer each why truthfully and honestly, you get to the bottom of the root cause a lot of the time. But yeah, they need to be in that place as well to have that conversation with themselves.
That's why as well, just I know you're not in the actual private Time Buster training group, but that's why I put a lot of emphasis on, and this is why this has come out as well, is that sharing stories.
Yeah.
Because we've got Motivation Monday and Feedback Friday, and as much as that's cheesy, it works, and people sharing and thinking. One, it's going to help inspire them, but it's always going to help inspire and make other people think as well. So people are all the stuff I do. It's 20% is the Time Buster training and fitness, and 80% is actually surrounding yourself with like-minded people and listening to people like yourself talk about your perspectives, your learnings, and it makes people think about, how's that relevant to me?
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit now.
Go on then.
Okay. So I remember a really impactful story that you used to tell when we worked together. Like if you can remember it and share it. Do you remember the fire story about energy?
No.
Do you know? So about putting fire and putting coal on a fire, and if you put too much coal on.
Oh, you mean nutrition wise? Yeah. So about I think we were talking about calories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah. So it's the same with a fire. Funnily enough, firefighter now. But it was meant to be. So what I was saying was, with the fire, you imagine the fire as your metabolism. Basically, that's essentially what we kind of categorize it as anyway. So it's burning energy. It's it's torching fat. That's what we talk about with metabolism. So what I was saying was, people didn't seem to get this notion about if you overfeed a fire with coal, it will just put it out. I know it's a bit oversimplification, but it will just dampen it, and it's hard for you to then burn through it and to keep going, and then you just keep putting more coal on and more coal. So it's just, what I was trying to say was, as soon as when you get into a calorie deficit, you're still feeding the fire, but it's just being burnt up a lot easier. That was kind of must have been on an inspirational rampage with analogies.
There's been a couple. Have you got any others that stand out? I know you've got a few good ones.
Oh, sabotage. Yeah, that was my one.
We've got
4 minutes.
Sabotage, then I'll do something to finish.
That's fine. So when people say like cheating on a meal, like I have a cheat meal, a cheat day, and it used to really like annoy me, because you're not cheating anyone. Like, to cheat is to gain an advantage unlawfully, or by a means of deception. But when you cheat meal, or you cheat a cheat day, you're not gaining anything, you're actually losing. You're sabotaging. So that's why I said it's not cheat days, they're sabotage days. Yeah. But on that, don't get me wrong, go for a burger and enjoy yourself. You can't live eating lettuce all day. That's another story.
Yes. Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? And again, I've just listened to a podcast recently, and it's reminded me, because I'm always learning about all the other perspectives and all the other stories I've heard over the time about, and I did a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago in the group about demonizing food. Mm-hmm. And we focus on all the stuff we can't eat, and we should really be working on all the stuff we can eat. And you're saying that shift of focus of there's so many things you can do, over focusing on all the things you can't do.
Yeah, definitely. I know we got a few minutes left, but one of my biggest takeaways of this is that like I said, it's years ago now. So 11 years ago is when I initially started to lose. Well, I lost my weight. I lost 6 stone in 7 months, I think it was, just because I absolutely hammered it, and I was dedicated to the cause. That's what I wanted. It was like an all-consuming desire to get fitter, and I got into something like the best shape of my life. Fast forward 10 years, so even to middle of last year, I've had some big ups and downs in my life, but like I managed to keep going and keep training. I use training as a tool to deal with a lot of sort of issues, like mental health issues as well. But then there have been times where I've gained weight. At the moment I'm sitting probably 6-7 kilos heavier than my normal, just through not only the COVID consuming, but because of the changes in routine, going through all this training process to get myself into the job I'm in now. Like, they're all excuses, don't get me wrong, but it happens. And rather than me sit and beat myself up and say, put weight on or whatever, I'm just dealing with it. it's something that happens, but it's never over. You know, it's only over if I stop and accept defeat and just keep eating and eating and eating and end up back where I was. So there's always this pendulum. It's like roller coaster effect of weight loss. And when you think you've got it nailed and you don't need to try anymore, then that's exactly when you need to try more. You need to keep it going.
And yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I was going to probably finish on, because you're on that journey. We're all on that journey, and it never stops.
Never ends. Never ends.
Interesting. In this series as well, I'm going to be talking to quite a few people at the high end of performance, and understanding and showing that they're struggling. They have struggles. People that we're working with at the time as the trainers, that's quite eye-opening because we look at people. I've got one of my colleagues that's going to come on, is a high-end fitness athlete, and you think, well, they've got it sorted. It must be easy, and it's not. Like, we only see what we see, don't we?
That's the pinnacle, isn't it? That's the top of the iceberg. You don't see the years of training, and they've got a good foundation. You know, that will be coming from athletes at the top level. It's not a hobby. Just one day they woke up and thought, oh, you know what, I fancy having a crack at this. That's something that has been years and years, hours and hours of them developing their craft, and it's that's what you see when you get to the top, definitely.
So Taz, we have got to the Casio has told me it's 20 minutes. So I just want to ask you one more thing.
Go on.
Did you do that skydive?
I didn't.
Have you not done it?
No, I'm still waiting to go back. I was hoping to go back. I want to go back to that exact place where I was going to do it. It's in Taupo, New Zealand.
We should not crowd funding for it or something.
Not at the moment.
Thanks very much for your time.
You're hoping to help somehow.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you comment. Share this post across, and thank you for your time. Hopefully it was useful, and it'd be great to hear your perspectives on what we've chatted about. So Taz, thanks very much again.
Thank you very much, Stu. Take care.
Nice. Bye.
Bye.